Okay, so in this video, I'm going to show you how to harness your ADHD by mastering flow. Because once you've mastered flow, you will become immune to burnout, and scaling your business becomes faster and easier and a lot more fun. And I'm going to show you how to do this in 3 really simple steps. But first, a quick backstory on me. So I was diagnosed with ADHD when I was 11 years old. I've burnt out 3 times, once as an athlete and twice as a business owner. I've helped more than 400 entrepreneurs successfully exit their business. And for the past few years, I've been researching the connection between ADHD, burnout, and flow. So there's 3 main reasons why most entrepreneurs with ADHD struggle to scale their business without burning out. The first is focus. Surprise, surprise. Now, you've probably read all the books and learned all the ways to improve your focus and productivity. But over time, these habits, routines, and systems that you've developed begin to slip, and your steady focus regresses back to a state of frantic chaos. Suddenly, you feel pulled in 100 different directions again. You're starting new projects before completing all the existing projects in your pipeline that were supposed to be finished weeks ago, and your to-do list is piling up 3 times faster than you can check anything off. And although you're busy, you're not gaining any real traction on the things that really matter. So you finish each day feeling frustrated and unsatisfied with what you've accomplished, and this makes it really difficult to switch off when the workday is done. Now, when I can't switch off, this agitated energy bleeds into every aspect of my life. It impacts my mood, it impacts the way I show up with friends and family, it impacts my sleep, it impacts whether I think I have time to go to the gym or go surfing, or whether I can afford to go to a friend's party on the weekend. So if you're anything like me, scattered focus doesn't just stifle productivity and kill momentum in your business. It makes the whole journey towards your goals slower, harder, and way less enjoyable. The second is alignment. Now, scaling a business forces you to constantly react and adapt and respond to its ever-changing demands. So when you're under pressure, you can become really reactive. And so when your business says jump, you say how high. When your customers say run, you say how fast. And when your team says, I need XYZ, you say by when. And if left unchecked, it can pull you so far out of alignment that you're constantly investing your energy into things that drain you and give nothing back in return. And the best way to describe this experience is like you're rowing a canoe with a single oar. You're putting in all this effort, but you're just going around in circles. Instead of making progress towards the freedom that you envisioned, you feel trapped in a job that you don't really enjoy. And instead of your business serving you, you serve it. And when you try to fix the problem by following somebody else's blueprint for success, so-and-so's 10-step guide to scaling a $10 million business in so-and-so months, you can end up pulling yourself even further out of alignment. Instead of designing systems in your business that harness your unique cognitive wiring, you try to fit a framework that clashes with the way that you are wired to perform and succeed. So misalignment doesn't just deplete you, it kills motivation and it makes scaling your business feel like an uphill battle. The third is mindset, because it shapes how you see yourself, how you define a success, and how you respond to challenges. Now, if you have ADHD, you probably carry a lot of unhelpful narratives about yourself because your way of thinking and operating has never fit the mold of social norms and standards. And these stories that we create are a result of our external conditioning. So that's your upbringing, your schooling, your workplace, the media you consume, and the people you surround yourself with. And these stories are often riddled with assumptions and blind spots and limiting beliefs and catastrophic thinking and irrational fears of failure. When things are out of alignment and your focus is scattered, your mindset quickly deteriorates. You find yourself rebelling against your own plans, second-guessing every move you make, and sabotaging progress at every turn. When your mindset starts to work against you, you become the biggest bottleneck in your business, and you become the one standing in your own way of success. Now, there are hundreds of ways to improve focus and alignment and mindset. And being a high achiever, you've probably tried most of them already. The problem is that most of these solutions are not designed for our neuro-spicy brains. They rely on rigid systems that require discipline and consistency and willpower. And our executive function tends to struggle against rigid systems, even rigid systems that we create ourselves. Right now, you're probably using the conventional stick and carrot approach to reach your goals. This is the default operating system we are all taught to use to govern our lives. The teacher held them for you at school, then your boss held them for you at work, and now that you work for yourself, you are the one beating yourself with the discipline stick and dangling the carrot of motivation. Now, while this approach can work for some neurotypical people, it certainly doesn't work for people with ADHD, because this approach forces you into rigid structures that work against the way you are wired. It drains your ability to focus because it relies on brute force rather than leveraging curiosity and flow. It pulls you out of alignment because you're reacting to external demands instead of following your inner compass. And it cripples your mindset because you're reinforcing unhelpful narratives that keep you standing in your own way. Now, the carrot and stick approach only makes scaling your business feel like an uphill battle against yourself. And if you want to scale faster with less effort and more fun, you need to drop the stick and carrot and adopt a framework that works with your neurobiology rather than against it. The framework that I use is called Flowjo, and its sole objective is to help you unlock and master flow. Because when you're in flow, scaling becomes easier because every action and every decision effortlessly clicks into place. It becomes faster because studies show that we are 5 times more productive. And it becomes way more enjoyable because flow is an autotelic experience, which means that the action becomes the reward in and of itself. So instead of suffering now for a reward in the future, you're enjoying the process of scaling your business as you do it. And when you master Flowjo, you realize your ADHD brain isn't bad at focusing at all. It's actually built for deep, powerful hyperfocus, where you can focus for hours and hours. You realize that you don't have to suffer or sacrifice your personal life to achieve your goals. Because when your external world aligns with your true nature, everything clicks into place and starts to flow. And when you master Flowjo, these negative narratives are replaced with confidence, clarity, and a deep trust in your own abilities. The point is, there are many ways to get from A to B, and Flowjo is much quicker and much easier than using the stick and carrot. Now, you probably already know a lot about flow and how to hack your biology and prime yourself for focus and productivity. But what you might not know, and what took me 3 burnouts and years of research to figure out, is that the way that we are taught to access flow is completely backwards and upside down. We are told that flow is something we need to hack or force our way into. So we focus on ice baths, saunas, breath work, meditation, yoga, supplements for sleep, recovery, energy, and focus. But we use the same damn stick and carrot to do it. And while these flow triggers can unlock temporary flow states and provide temporary relief from burnout symptoms, they never address the underlying cause. We are much more likely to buy a wearable sleep tracking device than we are to address the thing that is actually causing us to lose sleep in the first place. Flow isn't something you need to hack your way into. Flow is our natural state of being. The problem is, we're often so blocked, there's no space for flow to emerge. And all we really need to do is remove the things that are blocking us from flow in the first place. So, if we imagine our life is like a river, when our river is flowing, we are energized, we are happy, we feel fulfilled, and we're flowing towards our destination, wherever that may be. And when boulders block the water from flowing along its natural course, we feel depleted, we feel unhappy, we feel unfulfilled. Now, we all know that life is full of boulders. There are new ones appearing every single day. But when we let these boulders build up over time, the less our river flows and the more likely we are to burn out. The inverse is also true. If we can identify what is blocking us from flow and remove that boulder from our river, water begins to trickle. And if we can continue to remove the boulders that keep us blocked from flow, we will begin to experience more and more flow in our lives. And this is how our river flows when we have mastered our Flowjo. So now I'm going to show you how to use this framework in 3 simple steps. The first step is to find your Flowjo, which combines the neuroscience of flow with your mojo. Now, mojo is an Afro-Caribbean word that means unique magical power. It's what makes you uniquely exceptional at what you do. And to find your Flowjo, you need to strip away the layers of external conditioning and channel your true nature. This means connecting with your values, your purpose, your passions, your strengths to gain crystal clear clarity on what actually drives you. So you want to start tapping into what feels good, start focusing on what truly lights you up, start leaning into what comes naturally to you, and start honing in on the things that you are uniquely good at. In other words, own what makes you uniquely you. Embrace who you really are. When you do this, flow becomes your default state of being, and your ADHD becomes your greatest asset, where creativity explodes and productivity skyrockets. And for this to be your lived reality, there are 2 more steps you need to take. The second step is to identify what is blocking you from flow. And the simplest way to do this is to ask yourself, where does the energy flow? When you invest your energy into a task or a person or an activity or whatever, does the energy flow back to you? If it doesn't, it's usually a boulder. So make a list of everyone and everything you come into contact with. List all the people in your life, your business partner, your romantic partner, your employees, suppliers, vendors, investors, business partners, customers, your friends, the barista at your local cafe. Then list out all the tasks you're responsible for at work and in everyday life. And then list anything else you can think of. So anything that causes you to feel stressed or frustrated or overwhelmed or zapped of energy. You could identify a project that you're procrastinating on, or the fact that you're constantly getting interrupted by teammates on Slack, or you might find yourself getting paralyzed by indecision. Get it all down on paper. Then you want to mark anything that energizes you with a lightning bolt. And then you want to mark anything that drains you with a blocked symbol. So you want to make the symbols big next to anything that has a really big impact, that really energizes you or really drains you. And then just add a smaller symbol next to the things that energize you or drain you, but they're not killing you, right? The final step is to remove these blockers. Now, remember, the bigger the blocker, the more space you will create for flow to emerge. So you should always focus on removing the biggest blocker first. So what you want to do is write down the action you need to take to remove this boulder. You need to think about what needs to change, right? For energy to flow both ways. Is it a task you need to delegate? Is it a role you need to hire for? Is it a friendship you need to distance yourself from? Is it an employee you need to let go of? Is it designing your work days differently? Is it quitting drinking alcohol during the week? Could be anything. So you want to write down an action next to each boulder. Now, there's a reason you haven't taken action on this boulder already. Either you weren't aware that it was a boulder, or you were aware of it and you've been avoiding taking action. So it's really important to name what the resistance is. There's always some resistance. So write down all the reasons why you are resisting taking action. Is it because you're time poor and really busy? Or is it because you're avoiding confrontation or a difficult conversation? Or maybe there's a knowledge or skills gap where you're actually unsure how to remove the boulder. Another thing to keep in mind is that sometimes what we think is a boulder is just a side effect of another boulder we're unaware of, right? For instance, you might think that you're unable to focus because you're not sleeping enough. But the reason you're not sleeping enough is because you're overwhelmed. And the reason you're overwhelmed is because you're juggling too many projects with unrealistic deadlines. So the boulder is actually a poorly designed plan. So whilst you might blame your lack of discipline for watching Netflix in bed that's disrupting your sleep, it's actually, you're setting yourself up for failure well before you jump into bed, right? So once you have a good idea of what your boulder is, ask yourself, what is the consequence of not taking action on this boulder? And that is the 3-step Flowjo framework in action. So if you follow these 3 steps, you will become immune to burnout. You will be able to consistently perform at your peak, and the process of scaling your business will be much quicker, much easier, and way more fun. Now, if your life is anything like mine, there are new boulders appearing every single day. So it's important to cycle through these 3 steps on a regular basis. And you only need 5 to 10 minutes to consider these 3 steps, right? You could do it walking or journaling or meditating, or you could simply talk to a friend, right? And if you feel unsure which boulders are blocking you from flow or how to go about removing them, I've built a free diagnostic tool on my website. You basically answer a bunch of questions and it calculates your Flowjo score and identifies what is blocking you from flow. I'll add a link in the description or send you one. And if you're interested in joining the Flowjo High Performance Coaching Program, just shoot me a message. Okay.